everyone, my name is Heather and welcome to the channel Bookables. Welcome to my August wrap up. So in August, big surprise, I read a grand total of 8 books. That has been my same number for like the past, I don't even know, maybe the whole year. I am not sure, but either way, August was it was a difficult month. I'm not gonna lie to you. So I'm sure I've shared with you, and I try to keep my life very separate because that's just how I am, but I've shared with you that 2024 has been one of the hardest years of my life, and not just my life, my husband's life. I've told you there was a lot of health problems within his family. His father did pass away last week, and that has been, it's hard. It's still hard. It's going to be hard. It's been hard since January when things started to change with health and things like that. And it's just a difficult time. And I think that's why I haven't been reading a lot. I know that's why I haven't been reading a lot this year, because of time and just energy and all that stuff. But either way, just if you do pray, keep my husband's family in your prayers, because there are no words. There are no words. But you guys know the drill with these wrap-ups. I start off with my least favorite book, working up to my favorite. And I gotta be honest, August was a reading month. Not with everything going on personally, but just kind of the books. I feel like I've been in a perpetual slump for like the past few months, and I don't know what's going to shake it. But I do want to talk about a DNF, which I don't talk about a lot because sometimes I forget about DNFs. But sometimes I'll have DNFs where I'm like, man, this really kind of crapped up my reading, and this book did, and that is God of the Wood by Liz Moore. I bought this because I've heard a lot of people talk about it. A lot of people were saying it's the thriller of the summer, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna really enjoy it. But I also felt like I was gonna be maybe kind of felt stupid with it, because I know Liz Moore writes very literary, beautiful fiction that sometimes goes, I don't know, I'm not trying to say like, oh, pity me, I'm stupid, but sometimes I just feel that. And this is one, I couldn't get into it. I maybe got, okay, here's my bookmark, or here's my dog ear. Yes, I do that. I got to 137 pages into it. I got to part 2. Part 1 was pretty interesting, and then I got to part 2, and just, there was so many point of views. We kept flip-flopping in time, which is understandable, but I got so, like, I was like, are we with this? How's this going to connect? When things got interesting, she would switch perspectives, and I was just like, oh. So this book is set in the 70s, I believe, or maybe late 60s, 1975, and it's set at this camp, and basically a teenager goes missing, and 2 worlds collide, and you kind of learn about another thing that happens years ago. And it was interesting, and then it wasn't. This is one that I really don't think I'm going to power through, because it was a struggle for me just to get the 137 pages. And like I said, I don't talk about DNFs a lot because, you know, I didn't finish it, so I can't really tell you like, yes, read it, don't read it. But this is one that I did read a pretty decent amount of chunk of, and I just couldn't get into it. But as always with my videos, take it with a grain of salt, because that book is beloved. So yeah. First up, coming in, my least favorite book of the month was What Have You Done by Shirley Pena. I have read, I want to say 4 or 5 Shirley Pena books, and I feel like I've rated them all 3 stars, which is exactly what I'm giving this one. Shirley Pena writes interesting thrillers. I call them my palate cleanser thrillers. By that, I mean, I know it's going to be quick, I know it's going to be short, and I'll have a good time. Will I love it? Probably not, but I'll like it, and that's good enough for me at the moment. If you've been there, you've been there, and that's exactly what I feel for this one. This one, I barely remember what's about. It's set in the sleepy town called Fairhill, Vermont, and a girl is found dead, and the crops of and the girl is found dead in a farm field, and so you kind of go for different perspectives to figure out who done it. You get it. Like I said, her books are short. This is only 300 pages. I think my favorite book by her is Unwanted Guests, just because of the setting, and I also do like Not a Happy Family, but just, I don't know. I think I'll continue to read her books. They're not like Ruth Ware where I like really don't like them, but they're just kind of meh books, but I'm okay with them. I think I expect that. I don't know. I don't know. Next up, we have 2 romances I read and a reading vlog, so I'll go over them briefly. I gave them both like 3 out of 5. Haunted Ever After by Jen DeLuca is a great summer book where it's set in this really small town in Florida where it's called like Bone Key Yard, or Bone Key, something like that. But either way, they're known for having ghosts. They kind of really make it a tourism town. We follow Cassie, who moves there from Orlando, and then she learns, I think there's actually a ghost in my house, and she learns that there are actually ghosts in this town. A romance happens. It was okay. okay. It wasn't that rememberable. It was cute. I didn't love the romance. I did love the small town aspect with the whole ghost tourism thing. The ghost aspect was interesting, but this one didn't really hold my attention all that well, so 3 out of 5. Then I have Birding with Benefits by Sarah T. Dubb. I read this because I am in my grandma era and I love bird watching. I even asked my husband for my birthday, could you get me a pair of birding binoculars so I could really eye my backyard birds? I'm into it and I don't care. I like it. I love it. So I'd say if you love birds, read this. If you don't, because it's all about a character named Celeste who is in her mid-40s going through a divorce, and she is about to become an empty nester because her daughter's going to college. She somehow gets involved in this birding competition with a guy that's very good at it, and things happen from there. She learns how to bird watch and things like that. It was cute. Was it super amazing romance? No. Did it make my bird heart happy? Yes, 3 out of 5. Next up, we have Play Along by Liz Tomforty. This is the 4th book in her Windy City series. Every one of books in the series is a sports romance. This one follows Isaiah and Kennedy, and you've kind of seen them sprinkled throughout the series. Isaiah has had this crush on Kennedy for literally years. She's been engaged, so he's always kept it like a playful banter. And then one day he notices that she does not have her engagement ring on, and it is game on. And somehow they end up getting drunk and elope, and things happen. He is a professional baseball player, and she is on the sports physical therapist team. So it's like a big no-no. It was steamy. It was cute. I would say this is my second favorite right after the second book. The Right Move. I did like Isaiah and Kennedy's chemistry a lot and how obsessed with her he was, and I just really enjoyed it. I thought it was awesome. Then I have 3 more 4 stars because it was pretty good. Summer of '69 by Ellen Hildebrand. I read this because I've joined a book club. Sadly, I won't be able to make it. Sadly, I did not make it to the August one, but nevertheless, I read this one for that, and I really enjoyed it. This is literally what the title says, Summer of '69. We follow, I forget which family, what is the Levin family. So we follow a myriad of the siblings. We have, you know, a lot is happening in 1969. The war at Vietnam still going on. Putting a man on the moon, going up in space, things like that. So we follow the Levin family. Tiger, the oldest son, has just recently got drafted to Vietnam War, so he's gone to Vietnam War. You don't get his perspective a lot, but other than letters. Then you follow the 3 other sisters in this family. One is newly married and pregnant, and husband really is not what she signed up for. Maybe some things happening. We also follow the other younger sibling who is not moving to Nantucket because that's where they go for every summer. If you don't know, all of her books take place on Nantucket. She's going to Martha Vineyard because she's had a very tumultuous year. We also follow the youngest daughter who is just turning 13 going to Nantucket. And sometimes we follow the mom who is really going through it because her son has been deployed to Vietnam. So it's all about the summer of 1969. If you know the Bryan Adams song, you know it. But either way, I enjoyed it. It wasn't like a favorite summer read, I'd say, but I did like the vibes of Ellen Hildebrand books. I could definitely see why she's the queen of summer romances, or just summer books, if you will. It was good. 4 out of 5. Then we have In the Weeds by B.K. Borison. This is the 2nd book in the Love Light Farm series. I read this series 1000% out of order. I'm sorry. I read the 1st book, then I read the 3rd book, then I read the 4th book, and now I'm ending it with the 2nd book because I needed to finish it. Why I did that, I don't know. But the 2nd book follows Beckett, who is the farmhand and kind of the grumpy, surly kind of guy. And basically at the beginning of the book, many months ago, he kind of hooked up with this very popular social media influencer, Evelyn, and somehow it was just like a one-night thing. Many months later, she comes back to the farm. It's kind of in the 1st book to check it out, and she sees Beckett again, and now things are happening more, and it's just, oh gosh, I love this. This is one of my favorites. This is one of my favorite small town series. Like, I truly adore it. I love Beckett. I love Evelyn. I love every book in the series. I have to really think about which one is my favorite. If you want me to do a whole series breakdown of what each book is about, what I liked, what I didn't like, which one's my favorite, least favorite, let me know, because I love this series so much. I have a reread. If you're surprised as much as me, welcome to the club, because I don't reread a lot, but for some reason I just really wanted to reread this book, and that is better than the movies by Lynn Painter, because the sequel to this book is coming out next month, and I am so excited for it. This is one of my favorite YA contemporaries. Something about Lynn Painter's YA contemporaries I just love. I love more than her adult contemporaries, which is, I don't know. But either way, I'm sure you've heard about this. This follows two characters, Liz and Wes, and Liz loves romantic comedies. A girl after my own heart. Every chapter, I think, begins a quote from a favorite movie, and how fitting I landed on a chapter where it's from my favorite movie of all time is "You're not as vile as I thought you were" from 10 Things I Hate About You. If you don't know, my favorite movie, and it has been since I have been 17 years old, has been 10 Things I Hate About You, and I will die with that being my favorite movie. But either way, she's always had this crush on this guy. She doesn't really know what to do. But then her next door neighbor Wes comes into play and helps her, and it is just so ooey gooey, super sweet. I really just wanted to reread it before I read the second one, and I'm so glad I did. I loved it, like 4.5 out of 5. Ugh, just so good. Then the last book that I read in the month of August was a complete surprise. Was not expecting to love it as much as I did, and that is The Wedding People by Jenna Espach. I bought this because the cover is literally me, like, I'm going down with this ship, peace out, you know. So, but I quickly fell in love with this. So this book is all about a character named Phoebe. And Phoebe, let me tell you, is going through it. She is just, COVID happened, which kind of really decimated a lot of her marriage. She is a professor, so is her husband, and she learns that her husband cheats on her, and then he leaves her. And so obviously Phoebe is heartbroken. She's like, what am I going to do with my life? And so she goes to this beautiful hotel in Rhode Island that her and her husband always dreamed of going, like spending bukus of money of going, because why not? And so she does. And when she gets there, she's going there for a particular purpose. I don't want to spoil it, but I think it's an important trigger warning to know this. She is going there to end her own life. And I also don't want to spoil it for you that doesn't happen, which is an amazing thing. I think that's also really important to know in case that is a big thing for you to read this book. But so she goes there for that purpose. Then she learns that the whole wedding is there. Then she learns that the whole hotel, like every single person, literally other than her, is there for a wedding. They're there for Lila's wedding. She rented out this hotel for a week. It's being a huge orchestra deal. And so she sees Phoebe and she's like, why are you here? This is my wedding week. And Phoebe confides into why she's here, and Lila's like, no, you cannot ruin my wedding day by, you know. And so basically throughout the week, they develop a friendship, and it's all about people, this book is. There's not a big plot to it. It's more about the character depictions of how Phoebe is going through it and how she's maybe turning a new leaf with her feelings and really scary feelings and depressing feelings, and about Lila, who's going through this marriage, but does she really want to? We follow a multitude of other characters, and it's just it is more of a sad book, but she writes it so beautifully that it doesn't feel like a sad book. It almost feels heartwarming. Either way, I loved and adored it. 5 out of 5. Was not expecting to love it as much as I did, but I'm so glad I read it. There you have my thoughts and feelings on the 8 books I read in August. I'm hoping that September will be turning a new leaf because it's the new season, so a whole bunch of brand new releases are coming out that I'm very excited for, and maybe summer just wasn't my vibe. Fall always is because it's my favorite, as a lot of people's. So we'll just have to see. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.